So, glad you're all here, and I want to introduce to you Jeff Merten with REI, who is come to us to speak last October and had wonderful reception. And unfortunately, we ended up talking about shoes most of the time. And so that was pretty much the end of the discussion, and we've got so much more to talk about, and the theme this time around is hiking in the heat. So take it away, Jeff.
All right. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Last October, I had a blast chatting with all of you. Super engaged. I think the best part, not sure if I'm on. Nope, I'm on. Okay. The best part I saw was how many faces of yours I got to connect with again over the last couple months. At that time, there was a lot of pieces going on. Summit Hut, sadly, had just recently gone under, which was heartbreaking. We had a lot of questions around that, kind of where the industry is, what's going on. The people who get outdoors is an aging population, which I think we could all safely say in this room, we're that population. So there's been a lot of difficulties getting through the industry. Happy to say, since October, seeing a lot of traction in market for a lot more people coming in for business, classes getting back online. I'm seeing new and renewed interest in the outdoors, birding, and I think the outdoor industry is finally realizing that the outdoors means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And it's becoming a lot more inclusive of how it connects with that. And I think that's a crucial thing so we can all keep enjoying spaces and get outside. My name's Jeffrey Merten. I have worked for REI for 21 years now, which is unbelievable. They was basically just a customer that never left. And then eventually they hired me. And I was like, oh, I'll be here for like 6 months to a year until I buy everything I want. I have yet to buy everything that I want. It was like working in the mines in the 1800s. You bought all your food from the mine-owned general store. So I think it was around 10 years I finally brought home my first paycheck at REI. And since then, holy smokes, it's been a wonderful career. I still love showing up every day wholeheartedly. I love doing this. It's about the people you meet. I hope you've had that experience in my store in Tucson. The people I work with that are now 18 years old and 80 years old. We just had one of our greatest retire last Sunday. It's what makes it happen in the community. Like, we all like long walks on the beach. We can all get along about so much. So that has never faded for me, and I don't intend that to ever go away. So thank you for making time to be here. Most importantly, you'll learn if you were here last time, I can talk. I can talk for days, and I have no filter, and I just get more excited. So the reason why you all came here is to get something out of this. I went down a rabbit hole about shoes last time. So note to self, I won't start about shoes this time, so we can talk about some other things. But if you have a question and you want this answered, it's a much better two-way conversation than just a one-way conversation. And then I tell everybody, if you need to get up and move around, I will not be offended in any way. Like, please stretch. It's uncomfortable sitting in the seat. Worst part about management in the last 2 years of my life is my derriere is actually getting larger. So, anywho, also want to call out that I love your guys wrapping up your meetings in April, because Arizona starts not being such a fantastic place. Really, this year it started in March for the first time. We got record heat, first time in 150 documented years. It's been rough. We had no winter to speak of this year. I never froze once at my house. Things are changing. Heat is a serious thing that can take us all down quickly. Who in this room has been heat stroke before? Few. It's spooky. And chances are, if you're like, I think I was, I guarantee you're well on your way to like stage 2 heat stroke. So a bunch of things we can do to help eliminate that. First thing is pay attention to the weather. It's that simple. There are just some days where I'm going to call it, you shouldn't be out hiking. I know Phoenix area, they finally passed a law about 6 years ago that if it's 105 degrees, you can't hike Piestewa Peak. They're expanding that to South Mountain and a lot of the other local mountain chains. It's for your own safety. Everybody likes to push it. People have egos. but it's not fair to our rescue personnel, firefighters, and taxpayers, quite frankly, to scoop you off a mountain when you got in over your head. I know last Father's Day, which was June, very hot day in Tucson. My wife last minute at about 10:30 in the morning said, I want to celebrate you being a father. You're going hiking right now, which is not what I wanted to do that Father's Day. And we drove up to the top of Mount Lemmon and did a big loop up there, I don't know, 8 miles or something like that. But with the burns, it was very exposed. There was very little shade. It was still like 96 degrees on top of the mountain. And coming down back to the parking lot, I realized I'm not sweating anymore. I've had tons of water. I felt kind of flush and pale. My skin felt cool. I was like, that's not good. By the time I got to my car to eat some Pringles, my daughter and I were both, I was ready to just pass out, quite honestly. Took a couple hours, throbbing headache. Took a lot of hydration and salts to get me back to where I was. And it was on a day where I would have really, that wasn't desert heat. It was just hot and exposed. So, key to everything, starting early. Hydrate before you go. So many of us don't drink our water goals every day. What's a water goal for everybody? That's usually the answer I get. What does a doctor tell you to drink water every day? There's a lot of different answers. We got a lot of different doctors. It's different for everybody. I don't know if we truly know. I am not a doctor. A lot of us, about a gallon a day is a pretty reasonable goal. Some people can do less. Sometimes I think I'm part saguaro cactus and that I absorb water in the shower somehow, foliar feed like a plant. But we need to be starting a day or two before a major hike to get ourselves to where we need to do. Drinking 2 gallons of water right now might help us feel kind of better for a second. If you drink 2 gallons right now, you'll probably not feel very good. The bathroom's right over here, by the way. But you need to start ahead of time. Everybody's needs are different. You know yourself the best. Taking care of your feet before a hike. If you've noticed you've been wearing flip-flops all winter, because that's what we do in Arizona, and your heels are really dry and cracked and just don't feel good, and you're like, I haven't had a pedi in 50 years and I'm 50 years old. Little things like that. A little self-care, like inspect your partner's feet, like pull them up and they'll be like, oh, you're giving me a foot rub, honey? And you'll be like, no, I just want to see if you're going to die on the trail tomorrow. Look for those cracks and stuff like that. Moisturize, do an Epsom salt foot bath. You'll be amazed how much better your feet will react and not blister when you're putting your body through stress. So preparation starts 48 hours before any major activity. Stretch at the trailhead. We all start the day off with what? Black coffee, most likely. Hopefully it's not too Irish. We probably didn't drink water. We forgot to eat breakfast, or you ate like 2 bites of a bagel on the dash of your car. And we show up to the trailhead because we're the late ones in the group. And then we start the hike. You probably didn't even stretch out or anything. So the more we can do and prevent injury to start the day right, the better we're set up for success. This all sounds pretty simple. That's where we always go wrong. The worst C word in the world, what are y'all thinking? It's complacency. Okay, a couple of you said, oh, and 2 of you looked relieved when I said that. We're not going to talk about footwear first, although I'm so excited to talk about footwear. As last time, we need to talk about clothing and what we're wearing on that. The biggest myth in Arizona that the outdoor industries have done you dirty on is they say cotton kills. Cotton kills. I've never been killed by cotton. I'm still here. There's some truth to that. If you were in a place in February and the daytime temperature was 75 degrees and the nighttime temperature is 34 degrees, and you worked up a big sweat and you're totally wet and the sun goes down, desert swings 40, 45 degrees per day. There's not too many places on Earth that do that. If that's not your thing, you should move to the equator. Cotton could be kind of a scary thing. We're now getting into this time of year. What's our humidity level today? 10% maybe. I think we're already in red flag days till October. When it's so hot and our nighttime temperature is not dropping down, I will absolutely argue that cotton is one of the best things you can humanly wear. I would say cotton socks, evil, because when you get sweaty feet, and everybody in this room gets sweaty feet, it stretches out of shape. You got moisture sitting next to your feet, your foot's moving around inside that shoe. I said I wouldn't talk about shoes, I'm sorry, but you're gonna get blisters on that. So that would be the one place where you shouldn't have it. But a cotton loose fitting shirt and pants might be one of the most comfortable things you wear. If you wet yourself down, you're gonna stay hydrated. We're trying to stay hydrated, not dehydrated. So moisture wicking may not be the best thing. So I wanna, there's a time and place where yes, cotton can kill. There's a time and place where cotton works amazing. If we look at our nomads in the Middle East and stuff like that who live without air conditioning, electricity, and burn cow poop to live off of, they're wearing cotton robes, loose fitting robes, and it's hotter than it is here. That makes a lot of sense. If you want to go down the rabbit hole, look up Death Valley Marathon and look at some of the interesting Star Wars-like outfits you see people wear there. They know what they're doing and they know how to dissipate heat. On a second note, don't sign up for the Death Valley Marathon. That overachievers, that's ridiculous. All right, moving on. So socks, what kind of material should socks be? Wool, I love this group. What else? There's another material that's acceptable. Nylon, yeah, polyester, what have you. A moisture wicking sock. Are people allergic to wool? Some, I will say, although you don't hear that much anymore. Wool, nobody's really allergic to wool. They're allergic to lanolin. Lanolin is the oil that's naturally produced that's in wool. What I have found through my time in the outdoor industry is that when you start asking somebody if they're allergic to wool, and they're like, oh, it's itchy. I remember it as a child. It's awful. My grandma made me. And I'm like, okay, that's rag wool. Nobody's worn rag wool since the 70s, I don't think. And it was designed to wear a liner with rag wool on it. Yes, all wool made you itchy. That doesn't mean an allergic reaction, as I have to tell my 10-year-old daughter. She's like, I'm allergic to vegetables. They make my mouth spit them out. I'm like, that's because you don't like it. I'm not a doctor again, so I won't argue with anybody on what they say they have. Most wool today is merino wool. It is very soft. The little barbs that naturally occur on the wool, it is washed so many times before it's even spun into the yarnage that there's virtually no irritation to it. What's unique about wool and all of nature's things that have been around for millions of years instead of DuPont's 112 years is that wool is a natural hollow fiber material. It insulates the same when it's wet. It naturally kills bacteria. Who enjoys peeling off your socks after a nice hike and just taking that in? Nobody? That's just me? Okay, awkward. Yeah, it smells like heck. But then after a couple hours, you dry it out and you smell it again to see if you can wear it the next day. A couple of you have done it. Come on. Fine. And then awkward. This is all recorded too. Yeah. Ooh, expert advice right there. Yeah, cold water for wool. If you really want that wool to last forever, and at $30 a pair of smart wool socks, it feels like nowadays, I would let them like line dry or flat dry on something. If you're really lazy in a hurry and you throw it in the dryer, the socks will hold up okay. I might get 5 years out of them instead of 10. But if I had like a wool base layer, nice shirt, sweater, or anything like that, do not throw it in the dryer. Never use fabric softener, pretty much on anything, quite honestly. It's nasty stuff. But on wool, it basically coats it so much that you would lose every benefit that you spent extra money on for the wool properties. That was excellent. I'm raffling off one thing today, and so far you're on my list, buddy. All right. So wool or a synthetic polyester, both are really good. Sometimes I do feel like a synthetic sock like a Belega or a Thurlow brand. Sometimes I do feel like my feet feel a little cooler. I used to be a big runner. I'd run, well, big runner. I wobbled about 35 miles a week on average, so I could still eat burritos and drink beer and not get too big. I need to get back to that according to my wife. But I found like a thin synthetic sock was really good, but when I'm hiking in that amount of impact, I like a little bit thicker wool blended sock. So experiment. When you buy shoes, I said I wouldn't talk about shoes. What do you need to bring with you when you go, REI person, I need a new pair of shoes? Bring your socks, please. I have now trained my team. We have demo socks at my store, but I am sick of washing socks. And I also am in the business to sell things. So I'm slowly training my team to be like, what's your sock situation? When was the last time you bought a pair of fancy socks? And I'm gonna have them open up a brand new package and hand it to them because it's ownership and I'm gonna make you buy socks. Last year, fun fact about the business, REI missed its profitability goal and we did a calculation. If I would have sold one $22 pair of socks with every pair of shoes that we sold, we would have made our profit by 5%. So support us and buy some socks. Okay, moving on. Shorts or pants, what's right for you? Either or on that. You know, it depends on the trail that I'm going on. I think I've worn pants once in the last 3 years, quite honestly, and it was to a wedding. And it felt weird. It's also because I feel a little tubbier than I ever have. This is this is therapy for me, people. Pants are nice, all the thorns, the brush and everything else, sun protection, I think that's good. If you're the type of person like I am and you just feel hot no matter what, like if I'm snowshoeing, you'll see me in shorts. I'm not kidding, I could pull up picture proof. Shorts are fine, loose fitting, comfortable. Just wear some pants of some kind, please. Like legally it's required. Upper body, what are we wearing? Layers, who said that? Winning right there. Why layers? Yeah. Remember right before mid-March and we thought we were still going to get a spring? That was fun, being optimistic. And like you woke up at 6 in the morning and then you're out the door at 6:30 and then by 7 you're like, it went from winter to spring. And then by like 8:30 you're like, I need to go home. Layers are your best friend. Now we're almost up to the point where layers aren't even making a lot of sense, sadly, already. So sun protection is everything. So if it's a short hike, what have you, you know you're not going to be out past night. You're on an established trail. You know where you're going. You're not expecting to be lost, but nobody ever expects to be lost. One of my favorite quotes, by the way, Daniel Boone, I've never been lost, but I was once bewildered for 3 days. I love that quote. That's a great quote. Anywho, sun protection is everything. Who in here, unfortunately, has had to get a melon baller taken to their skin at this point in life? That's the technical term. I said I'm not a doctor. So that was about a quarter of this room already. So I'm very happy you're here. I guarantee we've been doing damage to ourselves for a long time. I like to tell customers straight face, like, sir, I'm only 22. And like some of them are like, eh. Yeah, and it's like, and I'm like, let's talk about sun shirts. So these have improved so much. So if you're going on a night on the town and African safari all at once, this has been one of our best sellers for a really long time because some people are just committed to looking like they're dressed up for some reason. I don't know. I think some of you own this shirt. That's okay. If you like this style, great. This is a nylon shirt, so quick dry. I brought it in a light color. It comes in like 42 colors. Nylon on its own can be pretty darn hot. We all remember our suits in the 70s. Polyester and nylon can get rough, but if it's done correctly in the weave, it breathes really well. They added extra vents in the back and gussets, a little bit of holes and gussets that are wrapped into the armpit, which is going to be the warmest part of your body. If you wet this down, it's going to feel good, but it's going to be dry within 5 minutes. Great, great shirt. Personally, I mean, I put on buttons for you all today. This was a special moment. They're even. Should have checked that before I started. But what I like more is just more of an athletic jersey style sun shirt. These have gotten so popular. I think I'm carrying these in about 14 different brands right now. Guys, I think we can have a little sexism thing going on right now. How many guys put on sunscreen and love it? 1, 2, 1.5. Women, sunscreen. Yeah, women are smarter people. That was a trick, totally for the women. I hate putting sunscreen. I don't like lotions. I don't like smells. I don't like being sweaty, putting on something and then getting dirt on me, like, ew. I just don't like it. I'm gonna forget to do it. My daughter's gonna be red. I'm gonna come home and we're talking about divorce again. Sun shirts save me from this. So best thing about the sun shirts, They look decent. You can wash these however you want. Don't use fabric softener on anything. When you're a little larger here, they drape nicely. I think that's kind of a nice thing. The materials are so good. Some of them have the thumb holes. Thumb holes are rad because when you're wearing a long sleeve shirt and it's hot out, what do you do with the sleeves? Yep, what was the point of the sun shirt that you bought? You went in consciously like, I need sun protection, and then you rolled up your sleeves. It's like the person who takes off their hat. That's not working for you. The thumb holes are a great reminder. A, they just look cool, and it's going to make you faster. There's lots of data. Oh, see, I remember when my grandma taught me the trick of like grab your sleeve, and I was like, whoa, old people are smart. It was an amazing moment. I'll never forget it. Thumb holes do help you do that. But I think that's a nice reminder. The hood, for all my people who are brave enough to share HIPAA violations with me on skin cancer, where do they pull those, melon ball you? It wasn't your toe. It's this aerodynamic hairline of mine is where I'm going to have problems. It's these ears that keep getting larger as you get older. It's the weird things that are going to get you. It's your shoulders on that. So a hood is amazing. For any guy in here, and we went, all but 1.5 of us do not like sunscreen. We unified on that. Putting it on your face is even worse. It's gross. I don't want it on my face. Should you use it? Yeah, you should use it. I'm not a doctor, but I know you should use it. I know smoking's bad for you too. But the hood is everything. And I've really found if you dampen this down and I wear a hood with just a simple ball cap, I don't feel like I'm on an African safari. I feel comfortable and I don't feel as hot. Even though I know it's hot out and there's just no getting around it when I do roll up the sleeve and I'm like, yeah, it's still hot. But I feel like I'm not cooking directly in the sun. So this is a huge thing. Pass one of these around because the textile and the texture is everything to me. They're all SPF 50. Now, the Skin Cancer Foundation rates these, and all the companies, your name brands, have to send it to them to get verified. This is where we need to be careful in the day and age we live in. What's that small company I talked so badly about last time? It starts with an A. Oh, Amazon, that's it. The people that put some of that out. You can buy generic polyester shirts. Polyester is not just polyester. There's so many variations of it. Companies can put whatever they want except for sleep attire by law. Sleep attire has to have so much flame retardant so you don't burn while you're in your pajamas. But sun shirts, you can be like, yeah, that's 100 SPF. According to what? They're like, we said so. So be cautious of that. Yes. Expert question again. Yes, and the reason why is every time you wash something, it's getting a little thinner, it's getting a little bit more spaced out. Most of the garments tested through the Skin Cancer Foundation will do 40 washes before they start seeing any kind of a deterioration of how protective it is. So that is an amazing question. Patagonia, one of the most popular, we've all heard of Patagucci, we might own some. They actually got caught in misrepresented information and pulled it. If you go to Patagonia, almost all their clothing has like a big asterisk like, well, it's a 30 to 50 SPF. And it's like, and it'll go down the rabbit hole. Like they're still trying to be very cautious about how they promote it. Now, with that said, don't throw your Patagucci away. It's still providing protection and it looks great. And you bought a great company.
That, in the sunblock you get, it's going, you get some 50, 55. Somebody once told me, and I can't remember who it is, but it was a long time ago, that there's really not such a thing, that 30 is about as high as.
Ooh. Oh, we're going to hold that thought. Make me come back to it because you can tell I'm going to go off the rails. I will talk about that. All right, I'm going to pass this one around. This is a good looking shirt. It's from the brand Cool. You would look cool wearing it. Much nicer texture. It drapes a little differently. You can dry these. Now they They're going to dry so quickly this time of year, environmentally, and bad electric bills with 14% TEP rate going on right now. Sorry, political. This would hang dry in probably about 10 minutes in your laundry room right now. I have dried this and washed my clothes like a terrible human being and bachelor, and I've had no negative impact from it. You had a question. Yes, they do a merino wool, which is great for the antimicrobial bacterial properties and the moisture wicking. The wool, if you kind of dive deep into it though, spreads its fabrics a lot quicker. It won't last as long as a garment. It will stretch out of shape very easy, which I find very frustrating on a $90 shirt. And usually the weave opens up more, so it'll lose its sun protective SPF rating is 30 the highest. Soon to be answered. That was suspense right there. I'll be right back. Commercial break. Not bad. I think that's what Bass Pro Shop carries is kind of, they're a scent in 32 degree. Costco has some of it. I have used some of their stuff and it's nice. I think as far as a quality piece, I think you're okay, quite honestly. I'm not going to say, oh, they can't be as good as REI brand because of this. I think you got to look down like manufacturing, warranty, where it's made, stuff like that. A lot of stuff, if it's, a quarter of the price point, some people are like, REI is so expensive. Yeah, it's just, we sell nice gear, but I don't sell stuff above MSRP. I think that looks into like the ethics of where things are made, like blue sign approval, environmental like regulation within the garments. The actual performance piece of it could be very similar. Costco socks and boxers work pretty well in my opinion. And Costco treats their employees wonderful. This is the REI brand, Sahara Sun hoodie. I should have brought in, I think this color is wonderful. This is becoming one of my #1 SKUs at work. We offer this without a hood, which I think is kind of silly. We offer this in a short sleeve, which is a good gym shirt, hiking shirt. We offer this long sleeve, women's, men's, extended sizes, talls. Like we fit everybody. I think we make it in like 15 different size options. A little bit more economical being our house brand. They reinforce the collar so it doesn't wear out on the hanger. Yeah, it's got thumb holes, people. But it's got a really nice garment. As I'm passing these around, really pay attention to the textile, the texture of it. Think of the capillary effect and why paper towels work and so many other things. You gotta have enough of a waffle and a texture that it's tight enough to protect from the sun, but you gotta have something that's able to grab that moisture and get rid of it quicker. If it's too silky feeling of a blend, I always run hot in those shirts. Just like that first Columbia shirt, I don't care how much venting and stuff you put on here, it's a ripstop nylon. That's hot. Like that's not gonna be able to let air escape through there. So, and then this is just a fun plug. Something Summit Hut did really well, something REI has done very well. Arizona Trail. Who's done a part of the Arizona Trail? Yes, almost every hand in the room. We love the Arizona Trail. We started bringing in as a local buy, not through REI, but working directly with the Arizona Trail. I believe this Sunday they're going to be tabling in my store for 5 hours, looking for volunteer options and some of the classes and pro bono stuff they do. But we started bringing in their sun shirts at a reasonable price. Basically, we just buy them straight from Arizona Trail. That way you don't buy one shirt and pay shipping. I think it's just a great way to give back to what the trail has given to so many people. This is their Gila River topo design. I have this in a really good women's pink and then like a light blue color. They've been fantastic. But I think it's like a $40 sun shirt. It's not bad. All right. Speaking of Arizona Trail, what's this? A buff. Who uses a buff or a neck gaiter? More people should have their hands up next time. You can wear these in about 28 ways. I will not attempt this with this weird microphone around my neck. We may never get out of here. This is really cool print. I'll give one of these away tonight too. But Arizona Trail Association, it's a great way to keep all the sun off your neck. It's dusty out. The air quality today is disgusting. You can keep it over your mouth. You can wear it like a balaclava, not baklava. That's different. It's delicious. I know, I didn't bring any, I'm sorry. But these are fantastic. I've had to use this as a tourniquet in the field and a first aid kit. I've used this as a pot grabber. This has been a snot rag. I've used it when I won't even. Not that one. That's why I'm giving it away. That did not wash out like I thought. Ew. Ew. I thought I was coming to a mature group. Original Buff brand, coming in a lot more prints. They actually give a UPF rating. You can get these for UV, for cooling, for heat, all kinds of options. They're not that expensive. They're great gifts. It's easy to keep one in the pack. It's a wonderful item to have. More and more popular lately. I am getting a lot of people as we age and spend more time in the Arizona sun after their lovely doctor's visit from the dermatologist. And a lot of people are getting cancer on the hands. If you're a nice walker, you're doing some stride. You're getting some stuff going on. How many people in this room use trekking poles? Woo! Trekking pole business is doing really well. Now that you're using trekking poles, your hands are like this. They're getting way more exposed to the sun because we're not walking like depressed teenagers down the trail. As fun as that is to be. So sun gloves have become really popular. Some people want a little extra protection from the trekking pole as well. They're fingerless, so you can still look at your phone and take pictures of your friends, but they have a 50 SPF rating on the top. They're light, they're comfortable. This is becoming really popular. And then these are amazing. And they have these in legs and sleeves. This came from the cycling industry. But sometimes you start the day or you're a tiny bit cold, but you don't want to change shirts or what have you. We haven't done zip-off arm shirts yet. I'm sure they're out there. Nobody wants them. Feel like hula hoops on you. Those are so, how do you say, no, I won't even say the joke. But anyways, sun sleeves can be a really good thing to wear with just a short sleeve sun shirt. That way you get kind of an open gasket here, which can let a lot of the heat out. It won't feel as hot as wearing a traditional sun shirt. They come in different sizes. They're a great snot wiper in the morning. That's gross. Haven't used these yet either, by the way. 30 bucks, not bad at all. Is this good so far? Are we getting things? Okay, I got a thumbs up. Most important thing, this is where the skin cancer will get moved from first, or about right here. This receding hairline is getting impressive. Buy yourself the biggest, goofiest, wide-brimmed hat you can. I guarantee, even though our heads radiate so much heat, and I feel hotter when I wear a hat, it's not as hot as cooking directly under the sun. It's nice to put something between you and the burner. Telly's hats, who owns one of these? I figured every about 3 years I buy my dad a new Telly's hat, not because he wore it out, but because we can smell where my dad is. So no amount of washing. The dishwashing trick, where was my buddy that I talked to about the shoes? Yes, dishwashers are amazing at cleaning weird stuff. Not with your dishes. That's just gross, people. But if you do a separate load and you don't tell your significant other what you did, it's a great way to get rid of funk on that. So Telly's hats are great. I think they still do a 10-year warranty on them. A lot of people want a hat, but they're like, I don't want to wear it the whole time, or they're out at sunset. Sunday afternoons, foldable, nice flat, you won't ruin your hat. This is wonderful selling, nice wide brim. I always like a hat that has a little bit of mesh breathability to let out some of that heat. It makes a big difference. Adjustable on the back, these are great. Drapes over the back of the neck, fantastic. At this point in life, we just need to embrace it. REI, floatable sun hat, also very cool, nice mesh design. I think they're, gosh, where are we at now? 40 bucks. Not too bad, 3.5-inch brim. These are wonderful. Find a hat that you love and like make it your thing that you promise to wear all the time. It's probably the most important piece of gear next to shoes, which I said I want to talk about right away. I'm electronically, I'm not allowed. This is actually a shock collar, people. All right. Quick distraction. Who hikes with their pooches? Their dogs. One person, 2, 3, 4. We love our dogs. If anybody wants 2 German Shepherds, I would be happy to rehome my dogs. I'm sick of living in a snow globe of fur. I went camping the other day in the Huachucas, and I had my dogs with me, and my car now just smells like dog. But I rolled down the window the other day and the hair started going. I almost wrecked. I'm going to rethink my next dog. But anywho, this is the way I can talk about shoes now without talking about shoes, because these are dog boots. If you can't get on the pavement in bare feet, why are you expecting your dog to do it? Now, if they're like an 8-year-old child, they don't care and they're immune to it. It's very strange. But dog boots are everything. They got the little Vibram rubber grip. They're sold in 2-packs now. If you ever need to measure your dog's foot, go to like the website. Roughwear is a great company, or REI's. You can get your dog's foot paw wet and just put it on a piece of paper and it'll give you a good measurement of what size. These are crucial. It is also the most entertaining thing in the world to watch a dog wear these their first time. It's like the Empire Strikes Back. It's great. Dogs, do they sweat? No, they pant like I do. Well, that's going to be a bad joke. I won't do that. Dogs run completely. They're not humans as much as they think they are. Dogs need to cool down much different ways. So it's pretty much in their armpits and their groin is where you want to cool off a dog. So be paying attention. If they're panting and there's not drool anymore, that's a heat stroke dog. Like, it would not be fun to carry a 120-pound German Shepherd out of anywhere. A lot of times I'll bring like a little Costco frozen water bottle or an ice pack, and I'll put it under when we stop and just kind of put it in their armpits and let them cool that way. On a little towel. They do make evap little vest collars. You dampen these down. They have little ceramic beads on the inside and it just cools them a little bit around their neck. Those can make a nice difference. Dog bowls. I had to say this because I see too many. Who uses like a nylon water bowl for the dog? They're nasty. It's fabric. If you have water in it all the time and you put it away, what happens? Mold. It smells terrible. I go to the human section and get a little collapsible Sea to Summit BPA-free silicone bowl. These are dishwasher safe. I've got a thing with dishwashers. Not with your shoes. And the dog bowl maybe with the shoes. But those are so light. I think this is a great way to go. That's all I've got for dogs. Let's see. Why, oh why? One of the best items you can bring with you. Why? Thorns. Knives, I'm like, I've never needed to like knife something, honestly, ever, except for some summer sausage, I guess, one time. But a decent pair of pliers. I brought the smallest, cheapest tool I could find at REI. Quite honestly, a lot of times I go to like medical supply or Walgreens and I'll do like a really heavy duty pair of tweezers, or like forceps or something like that would work really well. But you want something with gusto to pull on it. Who's had cactus in them? Should be the entire room, because if you get choya in you and I go to help you, there's choya in this whole front row. We all know that. We share the best as humans when we're around choya. So something like that's huge. Also, if you're hiking with a dog, it's a matter of when you're pulling. I one time had a friend's chow that bit at something because it hit its leg, and so it thought it was being attacked. It bites the ball of choya, and it pinned its tongue 180 to the side of the cheek. That was a bad experience. This was a great experience. We talked about water. We are talking about water. How are you going to carry enough water? How much water did we agree on? It's never enough is how much water you need to drink. How are we going to carry water? Water is heavy. Fun group project. Whoever invents freeze-dried water, trillionaire. Think about it. At Christmas time, I was going to sell this bottle and say new and improved freeze-dried water and sell it for $80 instead of $20. And then the directions will be just add water. People will buy it. People will buy it. So water, it's sad, but it's true. Water bottles are good. Collapsible water containers are fantastic. This holds an extra 2 liters and weighs nothing and doesn't take up space when it's done in your pack. You can freeze these. You can boil these. These are wonderful. You can put iodine or chlorine treatments in there. That's nice to have. But I will argue that the best thing to have is a backpack with your goodies, your sun clothes, your layers. We brought up layers because we have experts in this group. But a hydration pack is wonderful. Who thinks cleaning a reservoir is hard? It's always a point of contention. I think it's a little harder to clean than a water bottle, but the maintenance is exactly the same. How often should you clean a reservoir? Just never. It's like a seasonal. Yeah. If you keep clean water in it and you don't spit it back into the reservoir like an animal and mix weird stuff in there, there's not much growing in the reservoir, to be quite honest. I'll pull off the little bite valve and wash that. Otherwise, I don't wash them very often, quite honestly. I will, oh, I've got opinions. Yes.
How is anybody ever invented a way to tell you how much water you have left?
Yes.
You know, I'm doing it.
Yes. The best thing is to say, honey, can you see how much water I have left? Camelback at one point actually made a digital gauge that you plugged into the tube. It like measured your suck rate, which mine was 100% suck rate. No, I'm just kidding. That was a bad joke. It went off the tracks, everybody. I'm sorry. When is it happy hour? But you would put in like it's a 100-ounce reservoir, and it would actually keep track. It was kind of a cool gadget, but like it was hard to use, and like it was expensive. Like they didn't sell too many. I can usually gauge and kind of tell. I can just tell by the slush factor more than anything. Not because other happy hour, but like I could just kind of tell where the reservoir is. I've gotten better with it. But when I do take a break to stop, I always believe in checking my feet, take off the shoes. I want to talk about shoes so bad. Look at the feet. You can see signs of a blister before you feel signs of a blister. And that's a great time to pull out your reservoir. How much hike do you have left, and just kind of see where you're at. There's not a perfect solution. That's why I always, if I hike for 1 hour, or if I hike for 10 hours, I usually bring a 3-liter reservoir full, and I usually bring 1 extra water bottle for my oh crap water bottle. And if I drink electrolytes, which I'll get into, I don't want to mix that in this because I don't want to wash the reservoir, because you and I, we're lazy is what we are. But that's okay. We're smart lazy. Yeah, yeah. If winter, January, February, hopefully you guys are mostly retired, I think. If you're getting out 3, 4, 5 times a week, hopefully, like a Canadian does in Arizona, I will put this in, and if I'm like mostly empty, I'll just store it in the freezer. It won't grow bacteria in the freezer. That works. Then you just top it off and you have really nice chilled water, like not a big deal. So don't overstress it. They make cleaning tabs. These you drop in, they effervesce. I just love that word. Isn't that a great word, effervesce? You got to say it with like some love. Make eye contact with somebody and say, effervesce. I do have an HR number I can give you all later. 911 HR. That's what I tell my team. Anywho, you know what this actually is? I mean, please buy this from REI because the profit margin's got to be great. It's denture cleaner, people. Denture cleaner. You can buy a lot of denture cleaner for a lot cheaper. But reservoirs, don't get too worked up about them. I like being hands-free and just being able to drink and go. Sometimes I pretend my reservoir leaks so I can catch my breath as my wife is kicking my butt during a hike. And she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, it's got like a weird leak or something, honey. It's just fun to be able to blame things. Malia, who's in the group, I know she told me the best thing ever. We were hiking in Redfield Canyon at some ruins. We're going up these switchbacks, and I am thinking my life choices, and I am out of breath. And she's at every section, she's stopping, and she's looking like majestic. And I was like, Malia, what are you doing? She's like, I'm birding. And I was like, I don't see anything. And she's like, no, I'm just pretending I'm birding. I'm also out of breath. And I was like, I have never been so excited to go birding in my life since then. My wife's like, you're really getting into it. I'm like, yeah, that's a red feathered cockspiel. Like I don't know. I've got my daughter fully bought into this. It is fantastic. Anywho, wow, this is going off the rails quickly, folks. Sorry. Bigger packs have some nice features. The worst part about wearing a backpack when it's hot out is what? Sweat. It's hot. on that. If you ever want to be cold in that cotton shirt that I said doesn't kill you, it actually almost feels like you're going to die because you're so cold with that cotton shirt that's wet. Some of the packs now, for quite a few years, have that trampoline airflow back panel. It makes such a nice difference. They won't make it in really small hydration packs. It's just not very cost effective to do. But if you ever want like an all-day day pack, Osprey makes a good one, Gregory makes a good one, Nathan. A lot of companies are playing with this design. They're more adjustable. They're fantastic. So treat yourself to something nice. Almost every pack sold for the last 15 years at this point has a pocket for a reservoir system. What brand reservoir is the best? I don't care. If it holds water, it's great. I will say Camelback, who patented the reservoir first. Are any of you work for Camelback? No. I have never tried one personally, so don't create more judgment about me. I think I'm licking an IKEA shower curtain, quite frankly. It's just a plasticky taste. A few of you are saying yes, and a few of you are judging. Thanks a lot. I think Osprey makes a really good reservoir. Platypus makes a great reservoir. Gregory makes a nice reservoir. I think Camelback still makes the best bite valve, so eventually you can kind of Frankenstein it all together. Packs should fit you. Packs are like shoes. The right pack will fit you great. The wrong pack you'll hate forever. Take time, try on 3 or 4 packs if you ever need in the market for one. But I love reservoir systems. I am pro reservoir. Super hot hike. My wife makes me do Tumamok 4 nights a week, usually at about 5 o'clock. It's getting hot to do Tumamok at 5 o'clock. Double insulated water bottles hold ice for like 28 days, it feels like. That's a lie. It's like 28 hours. But Hydro Flask actually makes an ultralight double-walled bottle, which seems very counterintuitive, but it doesn't feel like a Yeti bottle. It's not a brick. And there are times where if I just fill this entirely with ice, and that's in my side water ball pocket, you know, when I get to the summit and just have a few sips, it's amazing the difference of cooling yourself down. Or I'll add a little ice to the reservoir halfway down. It's a nice treat. It gets me off my butt, but these have gotten a lot lighter weight. So kind of a neat item. This is a cheesy item, but I like it. So this is a double insulated water bottle. I'll give one of these away if somebody wants one today. This is from a company out of Scottsdale. I can see this doing the best with golfers. You can drink it like a water bottle because that's an invention. But it actually has a little pump in here. Are you ready for this? Little mister. Little mister. You are, oh, effervescence. Oh, wait. What? Sorry. Kind of a cool item. That was ridiculous. I'm sorry. At some point, oh, and then there's people who are like, I don't like backpacks. I'm like, okay. And they're like, I don't like holding my water bottle. I'm like, okay. And they're like, I don't like things next to me. And I'm like, why are you talking to me? Like, I don't know what to do for you. You know, the runners do the handheld, you know, some people like that. The people who can carry a water bottle up Tumamok, I can't do it. My wife made me carry her purse once for like a mile. I don't know how you all do that. It's crazy. If it's a short little hike, because it is just getting too hot, simple waist pack, you know, a bottle for about an hour hike or something, that might be enough and not weigh much. I like the angle because I'm not double jointed and flexible anymore. If I am, I break something. Those are nice and simple. Scooby snacks, keys, phone, water bottle. That's the essentials. How much water do you drink before you need electrolytes? Exactly. We're not doctors. Yeah, wait. You can. Can you overdo electrolytes? Yeah, but chances are you'll just, yeah, you'll just pee funny colors that smell like grape. I mean, it's not really a bad thing. Usually your ratio of electrolytes is for every 3 liters of water you take, you should have 1 liter of electrolytes, so 1 to 4. So if you're only drinking 80 ounces on a hike, you should drink 20-ounce electrolytes on that. If you were doing Ironman, you're a badass, and you're working that hard to beat speed records, you could probably drink nothing but electrolytes and be totally okay. If you're hiking and you turn into a birder on the switchbacks, you probably don't need that many electrolytes, but I still think it's always worth bringing like 16 to 24 ounces with you. Lots of ways to do it. And when should you start hydration? Yes, yes. 48 hours after. So one of the easiest things you could do that I want everybody to get some, because if it's not you that crashes on the trail and just bonks out, it's your buddy. These are little salt stick tablets. They're a capsule. It does your body weight, so every 50 pounds is one capsule for 30 minutes of like strenuous activity. So you could judge yourself if you think you're being very strenuous or not on a flat hike. But pop 2 or 3 of those with a sip of water, and that's your electrolyte intake. It's easy. It doesn't taste funky. You didn't have to mix anything. We're all good at popping pills, unfortunately. There is an opportunity to say effervesce again with eye contact. There's the noon tablets. Why? Why? Good flavors. They're not too sweet. It's like an Alka-Seltzer style tablet. I like them. They're a little bitter. They have tons of flavors, but that's all your electrolytes. They say mix 1 tablet for about every 16 ounces of water. I usually dilute it a little bit more than that. I don't need like a melted popsicle in my mouth. I just want an effervesced flavor of something. Got eye contact with you that time. Equal opportunity. But these are wonderful. They're really good to have. Good emergency thing if you ever think you drank too many bottles of wine or get cold or something. This will make you feel better. And then Scratch Labs, if you're doing a lot of this stuff constantly, Scratch Labs does have sugar in it. It tastes amazing. For the people that want the pow of like a Gatorade taste, but not that over the top, Scratch Labs does a really good job. Why sugar becomes important, and I'm also not a nutritionist, but there's a lot of studies that show your body can't process the benefits of electrolytes without a proper amount of sugars in you. Now, this is the rabbit hole of the average American diet is crap. We eat too much salt and we eat a ton of sugar. So chances are water's doing just fine for us. But scratch under heavy workouts, I'll notice this especially more mountain biking than a hiking. I notice a huge improvement on what I'm getting out of this compared to like the noons. They also make a lemon lime flavor. And on day 3 in the Grand Canyon, and the credit card machine went down at the bar, we had a new and improved shatterproof bottle of tequila. So it was really top shelf stuff. And I found that if you mixed it with Scratch Labs lime, it created a scratcherita. And it was, I have never been so hydrated and pumped in my life. I highly recommend it after the hike. Everybody's over 21. This is safe. This is safe. All right. We are so, oh, one more item. You go on a long hike. Who was I talking to that's going to go from the top of Lemon all the way down? That's a long, long hike. A, do you want to carry 5 liters of water? It's a lot of weight. Maybe. I think you have to. I know Romero Pool still has water, so there's some stops. Buying a backup water filter system is one of the best investments you can do. Water filters is one of those areas where technology has finally done good things. 10 years ago, we were all using pump filters, and they were big and they're chunky, and they made weird wah, wah, wah sounds the whole time. It was very, I'll never use one again. Somebody here talked about the straws. Who was that? The straws work well, and they're safe. They're EPA rated, the whole bit. The problem I don't like about a straw is every time you use it, and Arizona water usually doesn't look that clean, it's going to get clogged up more and more. And then we have hard water all throughout the desert Southwest, and it's going to calcify. When we're talking about something that's blocking down to 0.2 micron absolute, those calcification deposits are going to block that straw really quick. So it may have worked great on your one trip to Aravaipa, and then the next time you're like, oh, this was great. I sold it to 20 friends. And then the next trip you use it, and you're like, what happened? That's where I'm a little concerned about straws. I think they're emergency backup that you hope you never use. This is kind of the same technology, but it's a bag. Why a bag? Because I know I can squeeze this, I can sit on this, I'd much rather squeeze something than try to suck it out of something, quite honestly. I could get more graphics than that, but I think you get all the point. These are amazing, 30 bucks, 35 bucks. Like, these are not expensive. They weigh a couple ounces. This should be in everybody's day pack, essentially. Whether we can find water where we are, that I can't control as much, but that's an awesome item. Let's see, sunscreen, I promised sunscreen, SPF. What's the difference between 50 SPF? Well, these are both 50. I chose wisely. Let's pretend that 5 is a 3. What's the difference between 50 and 30 SPF? 20, there's excellent math. Clearly not Arizona school system. My wife's a teacher, I can say that. Thank you, we're number 49. For decades now, we're really rocking it. At some point, the spectrum doesn't go any higher. Like, you can't do it. And so you get some people that, you need 80 SPF, and you pull this stuff out and you're like scooping it, and you're like, and like, it's just like the smear on you. You can't rub it in, it's too thick. That doesn't help the guys in this room who all pretty much universally said, we ain't putting this crap on us. Even the girls are like, this is more of a foot cream. Like, that's not gonna work for you. 30 SPF, you squeeze it and you're like, oh, that goes in kind of nice. That's not bad, and I do smell like lavender, which is very appealing on a trail. The difference that scientists would tell you is when they create a spectrum of 30, 15, 50, 72, that one's really specific from Neutrogena, it means that if the UV index is a 10, which it almost always is in Arizona, it feels like, and you're outside for 10 minutes, you're gonna get a burn. So if you put on a 15 SPF sunscreen, it's gonna take 15 times longer before you get a burn. If you do a 50 SPF, it's 50 times longer until you get a burn. So we put on 50 SPF. We start hiking up Romero Pools. We're climbing. What are we doing? We're sweating. Is any sunscreen waterproof? They all got sued for it. They're not allowed to say waterproof anymore. No, it sweats off. Or we jump into Romero Pools. It washed off. I love how much sunscreen my wife tells my daughter to put on before she gets in the pool. It's disgusting. And my pool has sunscreen. Like, I don't know what it does. So I would say a 30 is the sweet spot because it's gonna rub in well, but if you read the really small fine print that my readers can't read anymore, it would tell you you need to reapply about every hour anyways to work. So 50 times longer SPF isn't really jiving with what they're saying if it tells you to reapply it that much. Does that make sense? Okay, so go with what rubs in your face really well. I will say, management making the big bucks now. I ordered myself some face-specific sunscreen, and I gotta tell you, that was worth the investment. I found this Neutrogena stuff that's like pretty natural, but what's the one ingredient in sunscreen that actually works? Yes, this team is great. Yeah, zinc oxide. Anything else, if it's a paragraph of stuff you can't pronounce, don't buy it. I have noticed lately, because sunscreen is outrageously expensive. It's asinine for a family of 3 what I spend on sunscreen. Costco, love Costco, they treat their employees well. They have the Sun Bum, which is probably the best that I've used. Occasionally they have 2 packs of it, and the box is really misleading. Then you open it and you're like, why was this inside a box like that? Very Costco style. But when it goes on sale for like $6 off, that is the time to buy sunscreen. Think Sport is really good. Guys, it does not feel greasy and oily. Like, you spray it on, you rub it in, and it's good. I will say REI, I don't know who bought it, but Badger, it's like very natural stuff. If you want to feel like you put on Preparation H and chapstick all over you, it is great if you're into that. You can't handle like a steering wheel for like 2 days after it. It's disgusting. Oh, duh. Like, somebody went and brought it back. They're like, can I return this? And I was like, yes, I'm sorry you didn't talk to me before you bought it. And they're like, you're very passionate about your hatred. Bugs. Do we have bugs in Arizona? A little bit, sometimes. Somehow I have mosquitoes already. I don't know when it rained last, but I've got mosquitoes in my garage. Something's leaking, Arizona construction. Sunscreen, you should put on 30 minutes before you're in the sun. When do we put on sunscreen? Right when we start the hike. You know this. That was a trick. You're supposed to actually let it sit for 15 to 30 minutes before it even is effective because it's got to absorb into a certain layer within your skin. Bug spray, when do you put it on? Bam, that's exactly the right answer. Because you don't want this crap on you, quite honestly. But after you like itched your ankle to a bloody mess because the same mosquito bit you 17 times, that's when bug spray works immediately. So people are like, should I put them on at the same time? And you're like, nope, that should have gone on earlier. Sad, fun, twisted story. That fun shouldn't have been said at all just now. REI, we used to do REI adventures all over the United States. We helped a big family. I crap you not, this is a true story. A German family, 2 kids, preteens, getting ready to hike in Yosemite, and they went outside and he sprayed them all down with bug spray, and he sprayed them all with sunscreen, and then he took his bear spray and sprayed them all down with bear spray. He read bear deterrent. They did not hike that day. Gotta read the directions. Since we are oiled up, we're lathered, we smell like sunscreen, we're electrolyted, there's going to be some good business on the trail. We got to prepare for the business. This is my number 2 favorite item at REI. See what I did there? I did. Bring yourself a little shovel, a stick or something. Honestly, I bring a little snow tent stake. It's much lighter than this and it's more durable. Some toilet paper, wet wipe. I don't know why I have tape in my hand. That doesn't go together at all. Don't mind that guy. But let's take care of our business. What's the rule for leave no trace and going to the bathroom? Pack it in, pack it out if you can. Most of us aren't packing out our dookie, though. Bury it. How deep? 6 inches is kind of minimum. Yeah, 6 is like kind of the sweet spot. 6 to 10 is where the most bionome in the soil is going to break it down the quickest. I was talking about this because it's Earth Day today. Happy Earth Day, everybody. Since COVID, who has gone to a favorite spot, usually next to water, which we have almost none in the state of Arizona, and the TB epidemic, when people bought out toilet paper, when did we start using a roll of toilet paper to go pee as a society? Because like there is just toilet paper everywhere. Is everybody seeing this lately? It's crazy. Like half my trips, I car camp and I just take a stick and I just start gathering like a pile to clean up. It's disgusting. So like we got to bury it. We shouldn't know what you done there. We can all respect each other more than that. Did you have a question? You're like, not after that. No, they're not eating synthetic processed food on that. They are eating a very well-rounded, healthy diet of the natural terrain. If you're vegan, you might get a pass on that. But we are putting out stuff that just ain't right. And bears and coyotes don't all go to the exact spot that was slightly downhill from the trailhead, kind of out of view, but with a little bit of view, because who doesn't like a view in a poo? And like we're gonna go right there at the same spot every time. Coyotes aren't doing that. So if you're a bear, you get to earn the crap where you want on that. That's fair. Gear repair. I brought this in. Everybody comes in and has ruined something. I'm amazed how many people want to return stuff to me because like this jacket's 8 years old. It was really expensive, but I got a hole in it. I'm like, you did. Like, I'm glad that jacket has held up for 8 years. Easiest way to fix it is a product called Tenacious Tape. This is actually clear. It's a 4 by 20 inch patch. I always call it the Lance Armstrong of duct tape. It's like duct tape, but on steroids. Now we get the joke. We did it. We did it. That joke is starting to lose its muster a little bit, but I knew I was in the right group. I have fixed, drain plugs on kayaks, seams on a tent where it was like heavy tension together. This stuff will adhere to anything and it is robust. It weighs nothing. It's easy to keep in the pack. You can repair anything in a bind. When the sole of your shoe falls off because your shoe's 9 years old and you left it in the closet and all the glue is decomposed, if you do 2 wraps of this, it lasts about 1.5 miles. That's after I refused to take it back at REI. Oh yeah. Yeah, that I will never. My first year as a manager, I remember I get this younger kid and he brings in a 6-person tent. So it's like, how am I going to go through this at the register? Like, and I was like, why are you returning it? And he's like, it just wasn't good setup. And I was like, good setup. Okay. Like, well, I need to look through it. And he's like, you do? And I was like, yeah, I need to make sure all the parts are there. Like, and I started unraveling it and dirt's coming out of it. And then I just start seeing these like brown blotches everywhere. And I was like, sir, is there something I need to, like, no? Like, do I need gloves, hazmat? Like, did you poop in your tent? Like, what is going on? No. And I was like, what happened? And he's like, beans. And I was like, beans? And he's like, I went camping. We got drunk. I put a can of beans on the fire to warm it up. I didn't poke a hole. Bean can goes flying across camp and went through each layer of the tent, leaving a fantastic spray. And I was like, I can sell you a lot of tape, but that is not a satisfaction issue. There's like, I cannot take care of you. What was my favorite Daniel Boone quote earlier? Do you guys all want to work with me? You guys are so much better than my team. We could have fun, people. Bring a headlamp with you. It's great. Some people still ask for flashlights. I was a drummer most of my life. I tried to play drums. Let's be honest about this. I wish I would have had more arms. Why in the heck would you take one hand away from yourself to see at night? Because if you need a headlamp at night, you probably got to fix something, and that requires 2 hands. So bring a headlamp. Battery efficient. They're amazing. I go for lithium ion rechargeable now at this point. The cost of alkaline batteries is ridiculous. Switches have gotten just to be a little circuit board piece. So it's only like you don't use your headlamp for 4 months. You open up the battery compartment and it's got schmutz. Best word ever. It doesn't work because the batteries leak. Lithiums don't leak. Buy a headlamp. Buy a headlamp that has a red LED. Why red? Dark sky. Yeah, there's a whole observatory thing that Mount Lemmon will appreciate that. If it's all mosquito-y out and you turn on a white light, now you got mosquito face. Nobody wants that. Now you got to spray this in your face, and like it's a whole thing. And it's the Badger sunscreen, so now they're just stuck to the oil you put on yourself. It's terrible. They're not attracted to red light. Animals can't see red light. I was once camping at Blue Ridge Reservoir, and a squirrel, bold squirrel, runs into camp and steals my MSR spatula. And I was trying to cook for a lady that weekend and impress her. And it runs off. I was like, I need my damn spatula. Like, I don't have a backup for this. And I had to chase this thing, and it kept running from my light. And then I turned on the red light. Got myself a squirrel. Got the spatula, too. Who does overnight stuff? Oh, that's sad. I wanted to bring these up. Overnight stuff. I was talking to a couple of you before. My wife's biggest fear in life is bears. She thinks there's just bears everywhere. And I mean, there's some bears out there, but they're kind of cute in Arizona. I went to high school in Jackson, Wyoming. There's real bears there. Like, grizzlies scare me. Black bears are photo opportunity usually. But critters will get into everything. The ravens control everything. They don't have thumbs, but they have brains. They work with the squirrels who are easily manipulated and curious. And they work with other animals in some kind of amazing animal kingdom thing that humans don't do. We're getting along pretty well. Our relationship sucks compared to that relationship. So the rat sack bags, see how hard? Like I had to think I was a bear to get in there. But they're just a chainmail bag. These were made by a Grand Canyon ranger years ago. These are all made 100% in Flagstaff, Arizona. They're light, they're simple. You can stake them to the ground. I usually take some paracord, I hang it up in the tree. Remember, anything that's food goes into something like this, not in your tent. Anything that has a scent to it, like my very fancy face lavender sunscreen that I like. There's no lavender, that's a joke, kind of. That needs to go in there. You know, women's feminine products, that goes in there. If you are really tired after a hike and you're sick of bird watching, sometimes I'll tell my wife, like, I'm just going to keep an eye on the food while you hike more. And I'll start sipping some scotch, and I just watch, and I'll like watch the animals try to get into it and film it. It is amazing. There's nothing better. That's really what I like about the outdoors at this point, is the animals. All right. All right. Where am I at on time? Am I holding 5:11? I'm talking too much. I got to wrap up. I got to get a recap, and then I'll get you all the happy hour, I promise. Before I go down this rabbit hole that I've been itching to get at, any questions or anything I could do better or address for the room or conversations or anything like that? This is okay?
I got a quick question. Do you have like, maybe it's on the REI site, that would be the best place for it? Do you have a handout saying, here's all the stuff that I've got here in front of me that I recommend you buy at REI?
Yes and no. For desert heat hiking, I think you're going to get the list that you're like, this is the same list for hiking in Minnesota in January. REI's site is getting much better. At the very top banner when you log into it, there is an expert advice section. And I will say the time and care that goes into that, whether you want to learn about a trekking pole in more depth than you ever thought, or footwear, as crazy as I went in last time, picking out the right tent, how to prepare, first aid. It will have a section in like easy to read or quick, really manageable videos that like in 10 minutes, you're like, I feel good about this. So that would be the best resource. In store, I try to do some printouts and stuff like that. And then I try to mingle like a top 10 gear list mixed with like local hikes in the area just for the local relevance. So good question. I wish we had more. I'm still a paper list guy. I'm sick of being on my phone. That's what it is. Shoes. You should wear them. We always run a special. If you pay full price for the right one, you get the left one free, only at REI. Biggest thing with shoes, and I think I talked about this, but I think there's just a lot of what we think is knowledge and truth is very different with footwear. Biggest fact, every pound you have on your feet is 6.8 pounds to your back. So you pull out your Reichly Italian leather hiking boots or your Vast Sundowners from back in the day in the 70s, that was like 7 pounds of footwear on your feet. Go walk the pavement and then go walk in sand and tell me which one's a more enjoyable experience, because there's no beach here. So it's a lot more work to walk in the sand. Putting a heavy boot on your foot sucks. There's not really a great benefit to it. I think some people are like, well, this is what I had when I was a kid. This is what I was told when I was in Boy Scouts. This gives you stability. I hear it all the time, and it's mainly people who are a little older and they have like very firm opinions. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. No, nothing has changed in footwear in 50 years. That's incredible that it was immune to technology. So that's one thing. Now, if you're off trail and you're carrying 60 pounds of weight or like a deer out on your back, I saw a deer out there close to the car, that'd be a good catch. Yes, a super heavy duty hiking boot's more supportive. If you're working construction, you need a heavy boot with a steel toe when a pallet jack goes over your toe. I've never been hit with a pallet jack when I'm hiking before. I don't need it. Or you get people who are fresh out of the military and they're like, well, this is what I got. That's what works. And I was like, the military made you a size 10.5. Everybody. Like, they don't care what size shoe you have. So that's one thing. Less is more with footwear. Support. People, notice I didn't even bring in a high top in here. Some people are like, I always roll my ankle. And I was like, I bet you do. The older we get, the more likely we are. If we're getting back into shape, we do. Some of us are just klutzy. That's okay. Ankle support. Let's see. Let me see your wrist really quick. Do you feel supported? I mean, emotionally a little bit. Effervesce. But you're my favorite. But it doesn't really do much. It's the stability, the torsional stability of a shoe is what gives you the support. We're not walking on our ankles. Otherwise, a high top shoe would make sense. You get a little bit of turn, but if your shoe is flimsy, which I don't think I brought a single flimsy shoe here. Let's see, Hoka. That's a little flimsy. That's where people are losing it. And then all of a sudden you're like, I twisted my ankle. And it's like, yeah, because I can wring this out like a washcloth. That is not a great hiking shoe. This is a great Saguaro West by the Visitor Center shoe. This is a great Tumamoc shoe. Yeah, yeah. So feel that stability. So that's number one. You get into like an Oboz, great seller. Can't really wring that out. Now, my 162 pounds chiseled body is walking on uneven surfaces, and I put all this weight. If I could shove my thumb down there, that's not, my feet are going to be bruised. I am going to hurt. So let's go back to, apparently I'm going to pick on Hoka's right now. Am I going to feel every rock in the trail? Yeah. And then this blue stuff, that's rubber. What's this stuff? It's EVA foam. This is like the junk that your Amazon package came in. Like, it's really light and comfortable. And on this carpeted floor, I'm walking on a cloud. Well, I didn't come here to walk around on your floor. Well, I kind of did, but air conditioning's nice. But you got to look, that will mean more to you than any other shoe choice. And then fit, obviously. We're all American here. That was supposed to be a bald eagle, actually was supposed to queue up and fly over at that time. Missed out. Most Americans have a wider forefoot, and we have a narrow heel. So sometimes people are like, I want an Italian hiking shoe. The Italians don't have American feet on average. We really do have wide feet and narrow heels as a whole. Not everybody, but a lot of people. So finding a brand that kind of fits that will do really good. Ultra does a good job with that. Topo does a great job with that. The newer Solomons do a little bit better job. And then you're going to hear about foot volume. So when you come into a store, we're going to try to look at your feet, not because we're creepy, but we're actually going to try to help you. And I need to see if you're a high volume or a low volume foot. I would recommend, when was the last time you got your feet measured? 8 years old? 12 years old? 11 years old? Why do we stop doing that? We don't, though, because we change. I have ear hair now. Like, things are changing on that. Yeah, we've worn flip-flops for 50 years. Our heel is now over here. Like, I need more cushioning. Why do you need more cushioning? Because your blubber on the heel is no longer where it's supposed to be. You need something that encapsulates the blubber back to where it was supposed to be. You don't need a thicker, more cushy shoe. You need something that corrects where your feet have gone because of age, fatigue, and everything else. So measure your foot. When you come in, say, can you measure my foot? And I tell my team to measure every single foot when you help 500 people a day and you're by yourself solo in the department. In all fairness, it's impossible. Some people are like, I don't want my foot measured. What are you, an idiot? Like, I've been told that before, and I'm like, yeah, I am. Just like measuring feet on a Brannick device. So sorry. Measure your foot from sitting to standing. When you're sitting, is your foot bigger or smaller? Smaller. There's no weight on it. You stand, there's all the weight on it. If you flex more than a half a size on that Brannick device, I guarantee you need an insert in your shoe. And what has happened is all your tendons and ligaments either just suck and they're fatigued at this point, but I guarantee your heel's pushing out this way. That's creating the foot splay. What everybody starts saying now, roughly around this age, is like, I never used to be, but I need a wide shoe now. I need a wide. Shoes have gotten skinnier. No, your foot's gotten wider because it's not being supported. You might actually find when you step into like a super feet insert that you're like, oh, I don't need the wide at all. This feels so sloppy. So that's a big thing. So get your feet measured. And then torsional stability. I talked about that. Shouldn't really ring out. Poke the thumb down at the bottom. If it goes way in there, unacceptable for a hiking shoe. Look for aggressive lug pattern. That's important. You need brake control. Personally, I talked to somebody about this earlier. Every shoe company, as soon as they get popular, what happens to them? They get bought out by a conglomerate company. So who here has Hoka's or has owned Hoka's? Decent amount of people. Great shoe. If you would have owned a Hoka 8 years ago, you're like, these lasted forever. If you buy a Hoka now, they're twice the price, and you're like, I feel like they wore out in 6 months. They did. The grandparent company took them over, and they don't care. So sometimes some of these companies right now, Topo, and Topo's not for everybody. My wife hates them. I love these. It's all I'm wearing. They're right at that point to where they're kind of the top of the game, but they haven't been bought out yet. They're resisting. And so I'm still getting a lifespan on these. That's fantastic. It's light, it's comfortable, it's the whole bit. How long should a shoe like this last? Topo, it's Topo Athletic is the brand, and they make I have like road running shoes for cushion. This is the Mountain Racer, which is like, this is my favorite hiking shoe I've ever had. I'm on pair, I think 4 or 5 now. They come in nice colors. What's that? Yeah, yeah, it's the mileage. You know, when you're a chiseled 162 like I am, 242, sucks. You know, our weight is a big thing. How much backpack weight are we doing? I don't know of rougher terrain than what we have in our backyards. Most of these lightweight ultra running shoes, I would give it 200 miles of hiking, and that shoe is done. A little more aggressive trail runner like this, maybe 350 miles. A full grain, like leather, heavy duty boot, maybe 500, 800 miles. Then everybody looks at it. I love the amount of people at REI that are like, I don't know, I'm not satisfied. And it's just flat. Or like the entire inside's been like, looks like they went in a belt sander. And they're like, I don't know why my feet turn in. I'm like, good God, I've never seen somebody pronate that bad. Like, you have a flat tire, sir. You need new alignment. Have a realistic expectation of what shoes are going to last. What's going to wear out on the shoe is not the tread. This is impressive as hell how long treads last. We figured out rubber, people, at this point. It's the EVA, it's the midsole. This is Amazon packaging, basically. It's tiny, lightweight foam that goes in pool toys. It's comfortable, it's wonderful, it's amazing how long it can retain its original shape, but you're gonna wear out the midsole. You'll start feeling it in heel pain, lower back pain, and you'll be like, oh, my shoes just, I don't know, maybe I don't like them anymore. You wore out the shoe. Like, there's no bringing that back. You gotta change out shoes way more frequently. So some people still go with heavy duty hiking boots, to each their own on that, but that every pound to your feet is 6.8 pounds to your back. Try a trail runner if you've been stuck in a full leather grain shoe forever. Now, I will say the one thing that's the downside to these, this is pretty meshy. When it rains and things bloom for 4 days in Arizona, and you're like, wow, Arizona is colorful, and then the next day it's all stickers. Those will, all the foxtails and stuff can get caught into this. That sucks. So if you can find a fabric that's a tighter weave together, that's your best bet for combating it. Otherwise, you're going to like a leather shoe. What's the downside of the leather shoe besides a little more weight? It's hot. What's the best thing you can do to combat heat? Wool sock. You're going to change your socks. If you ever bring anything extra with you in a pack, bring an extra pair of socks. It's a tourniquet, it's a pot grabber, it's a face mask, it's a lot of things. It's toilet paper, really expensive toilet paper, antimicrobial toilet paper. But bring socks. But yeah, you're going to have a benefit and a trade-off of everything. So I won't go in more depth. Does that answer questions on footwear okay? Ultra Lone Peak 9, and it's because of all the thru hikers. Their social media presence, which is what drives reality, unfortunately, nowadays. Perception is reality. I love to tell my team that all the time. That by far sells the most. But then if you broke it to an age demographic, as soon as we get to about our late 40s, 50 and upward, they use a zero drop shoe. We have been trained to walk on a heel our whole lives. Zero drop shoes are great because they give you better like foot splay, and it teaches you the ball of your foot strike, which came from a big thing from runners. But this far into the game, we've either lost the ability to have the strength to do that, or we're just not going to learn new tricks at this point. So I like having a shoe with like a 2 to 3 millimeter rise on it. I will find if I do zero drops, even at the store, and I do a lot of staircases at that REI, but obviously flat ground, about 4 hours in, the front of my shins start hurting so bad, and it's because that foot splay. So I think it's kind of nice for like small hikes to Tumamoc just to use a different muscle group. But as soon as I get home, I'm putting on the topo for me lately again. So that's your in them. And Ultra now is offering like 2 millimeter drops. So they're learning that like, oh, we will never change. And they're like, we're slowly changing half of our line. So, but they've done a really good job. They're popular. Try on topos sometime. They're very, very close to fit. Yes, because they'll usually offer with and without, $20 difference, but you'll get twice the lifespan with the Vibram sole. Narrow feet, I would look at Sportiva and Solomon, but probably La Sportiva. My wife has a really low volume, so low arch, narrow, long foot, and she's in the, what is it, the Prosciuttos, and that's in the Wildcats. Those are a great shoe for a low volume foot. So they'll always be an option. And that's why it's so good to just like tell the person at the store, and I hope my team is doing it realistically. I know they're not doing it enough. But like, can you take a look at my foot and tell me what kind of foot I have? And just that right that you can tell like, is this new employee or is this a seasoned guy who's like, oh, you got a low volume foot, looks like a 10.5. Let's measure you for an insole. It looks like your heel's sitting off to the side. And you'll be like, oh, that's service instead of that's my new hire who just started in the outdoors. So we all start somewhere.
I agree. I'm on my fourth Sportiva.
And I've
got a long, narrow foot.
Yep. Yep. You're actually locked in the heel, still like tight up just in front of the heel so you don't slide forward, so you don't think you need a wide. Great shoe. And a good rubber compound too. Yeah. They're a good looking shoe too. Never thought I'd turn into a shoe guy, but I am. Call me Al Bundy. Guys, that's all I have. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.